Hey, everybody, listen. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. It's Trending Topics Tuesday, and we got stuff to talk about. So, listen, people, go ahead, do me a favor, hit the like button, okay? And come on in the building. Okay, listen, people. Tonight's title is called Different Times. Different times, okay? Different times. So we talked about this other day. Tisha, everybody was like, no, her name is Tisha, Letitia. Okay, Letitia James, okay, the attorney general over there. Letitia James got indicted, mortgage fraud. And so I don't know if Denise trying to help her. I don't know what's going on in the case now, but the niece said she has been living in the property since 2020 and she ain't never pay a dime of rent. She don't even pay to upkeep the property. I'm thinking, but y'all got to talk to me. I'm thinking the niece trying to help her out because they calling it a rental property, and the niece, it's actually the grandniece. So that means it's her niece daughter. So the grandniece said, I've been living there with my kids. My auntie just been helping me out. I do not pay a dime. So I'm guessing that's going to be their defense, that it's not a rental property. Y'all know y'all always catch up with me, sometimes weeks, sometimes months later. Y'all was like, no, Diva, she's not going to get in trouble for this. It ain't looking good. Oh, somebody drop in the private chat my email for Kay. Somebody drop my private my email in there for me, please, in the private chat, my Gmail. And Kay, if they don't drop it before I finish my monologue, after I finish my monologue, I'll drop it in there. But Katrina, somebody in the chat, drop my email. So listen, people, the grandniece is speaking up. Will it be enough to help Tisha? I don't know. But we're going to talk about it. Then we're going to talk about this 12-year-old that's gone. Very sad. Roy, a matter of fact, I see you there. If you're still there, babe, do me a favor. Drop my email in the chat for me, please. My Gmail one. So this 12-year-old living with her mother, her auntie, the mother's boyfriend, and her father lived in another state. She was going to school. Then the mother called and said she was going to be homeschooled. And she never went back to school. Next thing you know, they find her remains in the back of a building. She was dead. They still trying to determine at what point did she die. The dad say he spoke to her early in the year, and they think the girl has been dead since last year. Now, let me keep it 100 with you, because we got to start protecting the kids better. Because I also heard that CPS was involved in this family's life. We be hearing the stories about CPS being involved, but the kid is still dead. So how did it help? So that means we need change. Now, I'm going to say this as respectfully as I can. When you ask the school or tell the school you're going to homeschool your kids, to me, you should have to pass some type of test yourself as a parent before they allow you to homeschool your kid. Now, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all because I always do. I wouldn't have been qualified to homeschool my own kid. You should have to pass a math test and all kinds of other tests. They should have to come to your home and inspect your home before they allow you to homeschool your kid. How do I just wake up and tell the people, nah, I ain't bringing my kid back, I'm going to homeschool them? We got to stop the foolery and protect the kids. Mother called and said she going to homeschool the kid. Now nobody's seen the kid for months, and now we find the kid and she's dead. And I don't know how we do this, but this is why we're here talking. I don't know how we do this, but somehow, some way, if you make a baby with somebody, I feel like both parents to that child is 18 need to be highly involved. You don't got to deal with me no more. But both parents need to be responsible for that kid. I don't know how we make this happen. But it's not even right to the kid that it's just the mother. Or maybe it's just the father. Unless somebody is deemed like an unfit parent, we need both parents to be involved. The dad said he spoke to his daughter 1 month, and then after that, he didn't speak to her no more. Well, then you know what? If the mother is not allowing you to speak to your child and you want to, I'm sorry, maybe call the cops. I shouldn't call 5 days in a row and my daughter busy, sleep, or whatever you're trying to say. I need to speak to her. It's a shame. And they're saying that the mother, somebody killed her or she died, something happened, and they was keeping her dead body in the basement until they moved. I need people to pay. We're going to talk about it. Then listen, this Wendy Osefo case from the Real Housewives of Potomac is getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse as time goes by. Now, the college is a little messy too. The college first said that they fired her. Then I guess Wendy people, because Wendy people, they watching the news reporters, the blogs, they watching everything like a hawk. So they was like, don't do that. Wendy resigned once she knew she got on these fraud charges. Y'all didn't fire her, so don't do that. So then they came back and they corrected it and said she resigned. We didn't fire her, she resigned. Either way, Wendy Osefo fumbled the bag because you had a nice little gig at this university teaching a reality TV class. You had your reality TV gig. You had other opportunities. And you and your husband allegedly puffed it away over greed. It's sad. Well, we're going to have a discussion about it. But that's why I'm hoping over here and to my following that y'all loyal to me, and I appreciate y'all. If you learn nothing else from me, learn this. Don't be ashamed of what you have or don't have. If you earned it in an honest way and you live in an honest, clean life, you're good. You're good. You drive whatever car you drive, as long as you can afford it, you're good. You want you a little extra money? Get yourself a part-time job. Do something. There's a lot of stuff you can do out here to earn legitimate money. Because the last thing you want is to be cleaned up by the cops. Last thing you want is some felony charges. Because it ain't fair. The justice system is not fair. There's some people that walk through the justice system, they guilty of sin, and they walk out. There's other people walking the justice system, you know, maybe it's their first offense, or maybe they're not even guilty, and they never come out. Come on, Magical Mermaid, the Instagram Joneses. I love it. I love it. The Instagram Joneses. They fronting and stunt. In the meantime, they at home starving, or they drowning in debt. And for what? Lisa Love, are you saying that you don't think Wendy Osefo charges are legit? I mean, listen, everybody got their opinion. But let me say this. Insurance companies, even when your claim is legit, they investigate. I don't know, just in case I hope nobody's sleeping on that. Even when you have a legit claim with the insurance company, they investigate. One time I hit a deer and they came out and they assessed my car. They said, don't do nothing, don't do this, don't do that. They asked me what happened. And when I saw in the daylight, it's unfortunate, but the deer hairs or fur, some of it was still on my car. I ain't touch it. I told them the whole story. I called the cops. I called everything. But they still sent the investigator straight up to my house, and he was out there snapping the pictures. And then they called me and was like, all right, you can go to one of our approved shops, or you can go to whatever shop you want to get your car fixed. I told y'all when I had the leak in my home, they came in here, the snap. Then they was like, all right, go ahead, call all the people or whoever you want, submit the receipts, let us know, and blah, blah, blah. So even when the claim is legit, they investigate. And when you call in the claim, they tell you this is a recorded line for quality and insurance purposes. So go ahead and lie if you want to. And just in case you forget, you maybe later on, you be like, no, I didn't say that. They go, hold on. And then they pull up the call from October the 1st when you called in. Stop playing. Stop the games. You got to live a legit and honest life to the best of your ability. And nobody's perfect, but you do know when you acting like a whole fool. It's just like these people, they have car accidents and they fine, but they be like, my back, my neck, my arm, my leg, and they suing. But I hear you. You think that the charges aren't legit. If you put on the insurance paper that 57 items were stolen, and then when they go to your house to arrest you and they got the arrest warrant and they find 15 of the 57 items that you claim were stolen up in your house, Houston, there's a problem. The day they called, thank you, Raheem. Thank you, Raheem. I appreciate you. The day they called to call in that robbery, burglary, or whatever, they claim, how do you know where the robbers got in at? I guess because you had to explain why your door wasn't busted down or anything like that. So they said the robbers must have got in through the bathroom window that we didn't lock. Right there, the cops was like, don't you know these cops, they be doing this, they've been doing this for a minute. The cops was looking like, how somebody get up to the second floor window, and why would they know to climb in that window? And if they would have figured out, let's try that window, you better be sure that they're going to try all the windows on the first level first. And you got ring door cameras, all kinds of cameras and alarms, and no suspicious activity was seen on any of that. So you just think they automatically said, let me be Spider-Man, climb up your house and go through the second floor window? And my thing is, if you are going to do something fraudulent or some type of crime, the best you should do is maybe watch a couple movies and stuff and try to come one better. Yeah, Didi, it's embarrassing. I got secondhand embarrassment for them. But I'm telling you who I really feel for. I feel for the kids. Now, you want some kids that need to be homeschooled now? It should be them kids. Because I'm sure the school is ripping them. Scam gone wrong. Come on today. Do your research if you're going to be a scammer. Come on. But listen, people. I done talked enough. It's time to bring the people on in the building. Y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what, y'all? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Tuesday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called Different Times. We got Letitia James, her grandniece, saying, no, I wasn't paying no rent. Okay? We got the 12-year-old gone too soon by the hands of their own mother, allegedly. And auntie got something to do with it. And they got the nerve to be standing in the court crying. Don't cry now. You ain't crying for your baby girl. Don't cry now. You're busted. And your bond is $5 million. Check that. And we got Wendy Osefo. Let me bring the people in the building. Hey, Wayne. Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, Julius.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, y'all. Hit the like button.
Hey, in my opinion. Hey, Katrina. Hey, Callie. Hey, Amy J. Oh, shoot.
Hey.
It's a long time of coming. We ain't have this full house in the
Full house tonight.
I know, right?
Full house. Yes. Let's talk, people. Let's talk. So I'm going to go ahead and do this Letitia James story real quick because we talked about that. And I know the people, they want to beat me up. But I'm just telling y'all, the reason why I'm showing y'all this story is I want y'all to start to connect the dots here. And I'm going to bring up once again, I know y'all get sick of it, but I got to help y'all connect the dots here. You see, with the Diddy case, they did press conferences. They put all of this smut in the street, out there in the media about him before the case even saw its day in court. Matter of fact, before the case even got its jurors. They had mad smut in the street. And they thought by doing that, they was guaranteeing themselves a guilty across the board, even though their evidence was weak. And if you ask me, they made up some charges. Because again, everybody was asking the questions that they ignored because they think we just straight stupid. We was like, how you do RICO with no co-defendants? We want to know where they do that at, but they do that out there in the Southern District of New York. So why am I bringing this up? And wait, let me add this. When I first was talking about that Diddy story, everybody told me, no, Diva, the Southern District of New York have this evidence because they got a 99.999999 conviction rate. But I ain't want to go backfighting. I want to connect the dots here. I tried to get everybody to understand. When they let this man over here get railroaded with some fake trumped up charges, and they set a new precedent by giving him a sentence that is out of control and fining him $500,000, the max fine they can give, is going to trickle down to the rest of us. Our cousins, our brothers, our sisters, our uncles, our auntie, it's going to fall upon us. And here it is coming to Tish James. She got charged with mortgage fraud, saying that her home that she claimed was going to be a primary residence. And the reason why that matters is because she got a loan for that home that was a loan for somebody that was going to use it as their primary residence and not an investment property. And by the way, this is how ridiculous it is. And yeah, innocent to proven guilty, but this is how ridiculous it is. She was only going to save $18,000 over the course of a loan versus the loan she got if she would have just went ahead and got a loan that was a loan for an investment property. Sometimes we do stuff so stupid. You save the nickel to spend a dime. So she got this home with a loan that says it's going to be a primary residence. And all the neighbors around there, because they already spoke to the neighbors, they said, we ain't never see her live here. She ain't never lived here. Because you know the neighbors, even if you think they not, the neighbors is all up in your business. Every last one of them. They in your business. So now her niece, the grandniece, that means it's her niece, her niece daughter, comes out and says, I ain't never paid no rent. I've been living here since 2020 and I never paid no rent. My auntie was helping me out. But I understand why the niece is saying that. Because if you're not getting no rent, then it's not really an investment property and you just an auntie helping out your niece. But see, in the court of law, is that going to fly? Is that going to matter? Let me share a screen so we can get more into this story. Let me see. I got two pieces here. Let me do this New York Post one. Okay, there we go. So indicted Letitia James is housing fugitive grandniece in a Virginia home, report. So you see how they're going to let you know her niece is a fugitive, but that's what they do to you when they want to railroad you. Indicted New York State Attorney General Letitia James has housed her fugitive relative in her Virginia house for 5 years, according to reports. The under fire prosecutor grandniece, Nakia Thompson, has been living with her 3 children in James' 3-bedroom property in Norfolk, Virginia since 2020. It has now been revealed that Thompson is officially listed as an absconder, who is wanted by authorities in Forest County, North Carolina, for failing to finish her probation. Court documents seen by the Daily Mail tells us, okay? That is the grandniece. So Ms. Thompson was sentenced to probation for misdemeanor convictions for assault and battery and trespassing and has willfully avoided probation supervision. Keith Acree from North Carolina Department of Corrections told the Daily Mail. An absconder is considered a fugitive. Thompson faces arrest as she is located in North Carolina, Acree added, saying that her crimes were considered low level and thus non-extractable, meaning they can't bring her from where she's at back to North Carolina. Thompson had told a grand jury in June that she had been living rent-free in James' $235,000 Virginia home since the Attorney General brought it. And doesn't even pay for basic upkeep, the New York Times previously reported. Court records show she was convicted in October 2011 with 1 count of assault and battery and 1 count of second-degree trespass and was sentenced to probation. She also has previous convictions for assault, threat against the government, and simple assault affray from 2006 and 2005, respectively. Absconders can face an extinction or revocation of their probation or even possibly return to prison, according to North Carolina Department of Corrections. This is the home that's in question. Tish, you really did all of this for this home right here, and I'm saying this respectfully. James was indicted by a Virginia federal grand jury on charges of bank fraud and making a false statement to a financial institution in order to secure a mortgage for the home, allegations she has repeatedly and strenuously denied. On Monday, she branded the charges filed against her by a Trump-appointed prosecutor as politically motivated, vowing to fight them. I stand on solid rock, and I will not bow. I will not break. I will not bend, she said at a rally for leftist New York mayor candidate Saffron Madani. James' attorney did not respond immediately to requests for comment. The Forest County District's office and North Carolina Department of Corrections did not respond immediately to requests for a comment from the Post. So Denise is trying to say, yeah, I lived there, but I did not pay any rent. So therefore, my auntie was not getting any financial gain because I wasn't paying nothing. Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, I could halfway believe some of this stuff if we had a credible administration.
Okay.
This year, I've seen all this stuff professionally written and everything, and with nothing but lies. This is retribution from 47. They said when they indicted her, usually they already have a sitting grand jury. They pulled this one in so many hours before a special grand jury. Pulte, that's all over this, the guy that makes the Pulte homes, going through all the documents. I don't believe none of it. I'm not going to believe nothing from a pedophile, an adulterer, a liar, a thief. You can't tell me anything. And all this was orchestrated and ordered by him. You can't tell me nothing when your wife is an immigrant. You possibly might be an immigrant because they found some paperwork, he may not even been born here. So no, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing about this black woman. I don't care how many words you write and all this stuff, and putting lies together. That's the way I feel. And I hope it turns out to be pure BS. I'm done.
Ooh, Savannah.
Well, I'm just going to echo off of what Wayne has said and has started. This is completely a political stunt that 47 is using to keep the people who have done him wrong, according to him, because currently there are 7 Republicans in this administration who have the same type of who can be charged for the same crime that Letitia James is being charged for, and that is proven fact. This is a way of him keeping his opponents tied up in the legal system, making them spend money to defend themselves for doing him wrong. He also went after Adam Schiff because Adam Schiff was the one that was head in one of his impeachment sentencing. And I can recall seeing when Letitia James, I saw some New York news report that there was reporters outside Letitia James brownstone one morning, and the director of federal housing happened to be also outside of Letitia James' home. It was early in the morning, and the news people came up on him and asked him, out there, him and this other guy looking like mob bosses, what were they doing out there? And he said he was just he was on his way to grab some coffee. And they were like, well, you don't live around here. And they confronted him. And Letitia James' assistant called her and let her know that they were outside her home taking pictures and stalking her. And he finally confessed that he was there to approach her while she came out to go to work. So this is all a political stunt that 47 is doing against Felicia or Letitia. I am just like Wayne. I'm not buying any of it. The director of transportation is the same way. He has the same charges. He has two residences, and one is nephews or brothers, young, I don't know, it's a bunch of young men that live in that house. He doesn't. On Sean Duffy, Ken Paxton, again, Republican from Texas, same thing, primary residence in three separate states. So this is all BS. If you're going to charge one, charge them all. You can't. They can't be picking and choosing who they put these frauds on. So she's gonna beat it. I don't doubt that, but it's his way of tying people up in court and making them spend money.
I appreciate you, and I'm just throwing this out as we go around and we talk about this. He, all y'all saying is true, right? But at the end of the day, I don't know when. Maybe the memo needs to be resent. You can't do what they do, and it's a point blank and a period. It's a period at the end of that. You cannot do what they do. She could have had this property in Virginia and just took out the proper loan for the property and listed it as a second home or investment property and not take a Fannie Mae, whatever those loans are, an FHA loan for this property saying you was going to live there. That is problematic. Katrina, your thoughts?
Hello, Diva. Hello, Panel Host Chat. I get what you're saying, Diva. But the thing of it is, if like you said, she would have checked that box stating that it was primary, but she also had it when she did write it out that this house is for my niece. Um, and I'm
Later
trying to figure
on,
out.
Katrina, it was later on.
Listen to you. Listen to you.
I'm,
I'm
I'm
still
just,
trying to figure. I
I'm
got you,
telling you,
girl. You know I'm messing with
I'm telling you, true. But go ahead, I'm listening.
but what I'm saying is, this the kicker. The person that brought the indictment on her,
Mhm.
she's never even did this type of work. The attorney general, Pam Bondi, didn't even know that she had did it. She went around her. She was blindsided. She had no idea that she went in after Letitia James because the person that Trump had before, the man found nothing on her to bring charges for. So this woman never had this type of trial, never been in a federal court, and the only person name on this indictment is hers. Trump name ain't on there. Pam Bondi name ain't on there. So I'm not saying Letitia might get scot free because you know how they do us. They'll bring down everything on us. But the allegation that they're bringing against her, I mean, that's just bogus. I mean, if have she paid the house off? If she was back on, back rent or falling behind, I could see the problem. But as long as the rent or the mortgage is getting paid, I don't see that problem. Because me myself, as you know, I have a home in Alabama, but I be in Georgia most of the time. But the thing of it is, it's still my home. And how you going to, even though she should have put in her document, should have had in the contract, everything should have been sealed because this is like they just said, this lady had this thing ever since 2020, and now it's what 2025, going to be 2026, and this is what you bring up. And the house, the house is very expensive up in Virginia because that house down up there will be like a $20,000 or $30,000 house down here, especially looking at that little house. But that's how they do. Um, I hope the best for her. I hope she come out of this. But we already know what this is about. This orange burnt face man is mad because he got caught up in this situation. So he's trying to bring them up in that situation because he already know he loved getting back. He's very petty, and it doesn't make any sense for the courts to be fouled up with this type of stuff when they have people out there that's unaliving people SA and kids, ST and kids. I mean, but this is what y'all got the court system for, a mortgage problem. Unlike his, when he was in the fight, uh, boosting up his properties when they wasn't even at that value. But now you coming at this woman for this little house. I hope she beat it. But like I said, we'll know how the justice system goes. And good luck to her though, because we already know what this about. That's all I got, Eva.
Thank you. Good luck to her. But you saved $18,000 to spend millions in lawyer fees. You gotta make it make sense, people. And I ain't got no dog in this fight, but you gotta make it make sense. You was gonna save $18,000 over the course of this loan, but now you're gonna spend millions defending yourself. In my opinion, your thoughts?
I'm of two minds with this story. First of all, you don't give nobody dirt to ever pull up on you later. That's first thing first. But let's be clear. This man is a criminal that's out to get everybody else to make them criminals. Let me tell you something. This whole case feels slimy. Why are they throwing the niece conviction rate in here? This has nothing to do with her house. But they threw that in there to dirty up her name. So even if she do fight these charges, her name is going to be mud in the streets. He's doing that on purpose. Everything he do has a problem to it. He's literally ripping everything away and putting mud on it. So my thing to her would be, cover your own bases. Don't give nobody nothing to come back and get you on in the first place. Handle your business.
I appreciate you, Julius.
I'm minding my blessed business. If she says she lived in the house, she lived in the house. Listen, that man having a temper tantrum because he was convicted 34 times. And I guess now it's Ringo. We have Jack Smith today on the indictment list. Then it's Ringo. But I'm gonna be minding my blessed business.
Yeah, you working in New York and you living in Virginia. We got to make it make sense. Callie, your thoughts?
This is an income property. Usually people get stuff like this for their kids that are in college and they let them live there and don't charge them rent, and then they sell it when they're out of college. In her case, she just had a niece that couldn't get right, and she let her and her kids stay there, and probably in a few years she was going to sell it and get the equity. This is an income property. Like, I don't even know why this is like, look, 47 being wrong don't mean you can do something wrong.
Come on.
It just, I don't even understand this logic. This man was able to still run because there was a loophole in the law that does not prevent felons from running for president. That's all it was. That doesn't then mean that everything everybody else does has no consequence. I just think that maybe perhaps it wasn't the $18,000. Maybe this was the only kind of loan she could get approved for. I don't know. Or maybe she got approved faster for this type of loan or something like that. But if she didn't live there, this was an income property. She should have refinanced when she realized she wasn't going to be living there. Like, you cannot be in public office and have something that somebody can come back on you for. You can't. You got to make sure your record is clean, your ducks are in a row, and all of that. I don't know how she could possibly get out of this if people are saying that she never lived there. If she never lived there, it is fraud, because this loan was supposed to be for your primary residence. All this stuff about other people having multiple residents and all of this stuff, maybe they do part of the time live at those residents. I don't know. I do know that, like, if you live in Puerto Rico part of the year, you don't have to pay capital gains tax, but you have to physically go and live there part of the year. You can't just have like a condo and have your family members staying there and you never ever live there and not pay capital gains tax. That is fraud, and you will probably get caught. So this sounds like this is the same type of deal, just with the mortgage. Man, I don't know. Hopefully they won't be too harsh on her. I don't even know if she even realized she was doing this. This could have just been some fine print in the mortgage that she didn't pay attention to, how the program worked. She may have not even known what she was doing. Uh, yeah,
She
this
knows
is a
what she
mess.
was doing, Callie. Monique, thank you again, because we got to throw some education in this thing, right? It makes a difference in the taxes that you pay every year on the
Mm-hmm.
property, and you sign a document that states whether it's an investment property or a primary care home. You absolutely do, and they ask you more than once.
Yeah, I
You
know
more than
because
once.
yeah, I live in California. I get a tax break because this is my primary residence. So yeah.
And then not only that, when you get one of them FHA homes, they also ask you something about living in the home at least 5 years when you first get it. That was when I got whatever loan that I got. Because I told
Mm-hmm.
you I got this special tax break that year, whatever. But it clearly said, will you be living in the home for 5 years at the very least? And that was part of some of the loans and the tax break I got to get in here. And I said, yeah, it's my home, unless some miracle happens and I get married or something like that.
You hit the lotto.
Yeah, that part, right? I'm going to be. But they do ask you more than once when you signing these documents about it being your primary home. And if it didn't matter in terms of taxes, they wouldn't need to ask you 1,000 times and you wouldn't have to say, yes, it's my primary home. Amy J, your thoughts?
Hey, how are you doing? I mean, I don't know a lot about the case, but what I can hear is there's a lot of fine toothing where they're like combing through and looking for all types of debris they can kind of dust up and get people in trouble. And I know at this point people are looking at it like this is like a witch hunt, but at the end of the day, it seems like this is what they do to each other. Before Trump got into office, yes, he has all these convictions, but there was a lot of fine tooth combing they were doing with him, and I'm not saying he was returning the favor, but it looks like you just got to be on your up and up because everybody is like being surveilled in this way where they're kind of calling people's dirt out. And as much as I would like to, like, root for the underdog in these situations, a lot of times these politicians in these cities are taking advantage of a lot of, perks and kickbacks. It's sad to say, I don't think we want to be like as aware as if a lot of this stuff is going on right now because we're almost going into a recession. But we're going to see a lot more of these cases where we feel like this is not necessary. People are struggling out here. We don't need any more like abuse of like the power because that's what it looks like. They're taking advantage of the situation and exploiting it for what they can get out of it. But at the same time, we're in a recession. You're going to see more of that. They're going to be going after small little fish and like throwing them to throwing like basically killing them.
Oh,
And
no,
I
too.
feel like that's going to happen more.
Oh, it is. I agree with you. And
But
you,
at the same time, listening to her story, I can't side with her because like if you have enough money to buy a property like that or get the loan for the property like that, then there probably were other avenues you could have used not to put yourself in that situation. That's all.
yeah. Yeah, James Brown called it the big payback. Do I think that absolutely he's being petty? Yeah, he is, but you know who it is. It's like they, that saying, they said when somebody show you who they are, believe them.
But I
So
think, Diva, did we not see this when they were like stacking all these charges on him, trying to prevent him from running? To me, I thought it was like a circus at one point. Like, how many charges could a person get? Not saying that he didn't deserve it, but it seemed like there was a pile on.
right. Listen, at the end of the day it was. But and now he's saying you did it to me, so I'm gonna do it to you. So deal with it. And she was one of the people that was helping with his prosecution. And she also, when the court overturned, I forgot what money, he owed some astronomical amount for something. And then once he became president, the court just threw it out or whatever. And she was fighting so that he had to pay it. Sometimes, got to know when to just back down. Right. And sometimes you just got to believe that without even your personal intervention, some people are going to get what is coming to them without you having to intervene. So if you keep poking the bear, you think the bear is not going to poke back? Of course they are. You poke the bear, he's poking back, and now it is what it is. But if there was nothing to poke on, then you would be cool, right? And you could tell there's not too much to poke on outside of this, what she did with this mortgage alleged fraud, right? That's why they letting us know that the grandniece is some felon. They looking for her. And they calling her low-level felon, but they looking for her. So they wanted to add that because, again, they're going to put some smut in the street. Why? Because that's what they do. So I do wish her well, but like I said, at the end of the day, it's still a loss in the sense that you're going to spend all of this money on lawyer fees that could have been in your pockets. Could have been in your pockets. The lawyer is going to be a nasty bill for her. Nasty. So I do wish her well. Let's move on to, I'll do Wendy Osefo because I have videos to show with this last one. So the 12-year-old girl. So I'll do, Wendy Osefo first. So at first, the college tried to act like they fired her. But then later on, I guess Wendy people, they combing the streets and they like, no, get this straight. Like her name is already smut out there, fired, resigned. I don't know what the real difference is, but they made them come back and say, no, she resigned. So I guess she got home from this arrest and she tried to do damage control. I'll give her that. She went ahead and said, you know what? I ain't going to allow them to fire me. I'll just resign from this position. But it was the perfect class for her to be teaching. And it's just a person that had so much opportunity in front of them. And they decided to, where did I click out of this story? Hold on one second, guys. Let's see. Let me share this screen. I think it's here. For a person to have so much opportunity in front of them and to do that. And you know what? I forgot why we added rest in peace, D'Angelo. At 51, died of was fighting pancreatic cancer. May he rest in peace. And, so sad because him and, what's the name? The singer, the R&B singer, Angie Stone had a son together. So the son within a year buried his mother and now his father. Just, heart-wrenching. And even though he's adult, it's still heart-wrenching. So school's out. Real Housewives of Potomac star Dr. Wendy Osefo fired from prestigious professor job after arrest for faking home burglary and fraud charges. Now, I will say, like I said, it's an update because they're saying she wasn't fired. She actually resigned. Plus, inside course, Wendy was teaching that would make any reality TV fan want to learn more. So Real Housewives of Potomac star Wendy Osefo has been axed from her professor job at a university. In a statement to the U.S. Sun, Wesleyan University confirmed that the Real Housewives of reality star is out at the school where she was a professor following her and her husband's arrest for allegedly faking a burglary at their home. That was her mugshot. So Wendy Osefo was no longer an employee at Wesleyan University. The university said in a statement on Tuesday, Wendy, 41, had been teaching a course on reality television and social issues titled The Sociology of Reality TV, which is now set to be taken over by another professor at the school. And it's sad because this was a perfect job for her. One, she had the credentials because she has her actual doctorate. Two, she's on reality TV, so she would be the perfect person to give real life examples in this class that she was teaching at one time. So it's so sad that, she destroyed her life, which I'm going to say over greed, right? The course will explore the ways in which reality television can help us reflect on how different social identifiers such as race, skin complexion, and ethnicity operate within American culture. The university's course description read, for many, reality TV can be easily dismissed as a guilty pleasure, escapism, or trashy. While reality television can be labeled as an innocuous pastime, its importance and impact in American culture cannot be overlooked or denied. The description of the Bravo Star course continue. I'm not going to go through the rest because the rest just kind of talks about, her arrest, the fact that, I'll read this because this is about the class. Moreover, the way this form of entertainment reflects American behaviors and shapes or reaffirms thinking within our society around sociological deceptors like race and culture should be studied. Through a critical lens, we will delve into the ways this genre of television portrays women of color, the audience who watch reality TV, and whether responsibility exists on the networks who help create these shows, the court's description concluded. So, and then it talks about her rest. I'm not going to go through the rest of that. So I will say this. My heart breaks for Wendy and Eddie in the sense that they got caught up. And it's always sad to me when you got some educated or non-educated adults and you get caught up. This is another example of when do you wake up and realize you cannot do what others do. They will treat you differently. You will pay the piper. You will be made an example of. This to me is Wendy and I'm saying, oh, others in our Real Housewives world had allegedly faked some robberies and burglaries and submitted claims to the insurance company, got paid, and they're living on with their life. Not you, sweetie. Not you. So now you lost your reputation. You losing your jobs. You could potentially, your husband can potentially lose his law license. And they said, I read another article that said he could potentially lose his business that he helped create. He can lose his own business, Happy Eddie. Wayne, your thoughts?
Now, I don't know these people from a can of paint.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind, she said, they're both out on bail. She said that she's just waiting for a day in court.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning from the Diddy trial, all the stuff they said about that and put out there wasn't true. So before these people are thrown in jail, and I hear that they're guilty, I'm not going to give credibility to what they're saying, because it could be a setup, it could be not true. Look at all the stuff in the Diddy trial. We don't want to see this because these people obviously look like they're guilty with all this information that's supposed to be stacked against them. But look at Diddy, all the stuff that was stacked against him, it wasn't true. Okay, now don't get me wrong. I'm just being the devil's advocate. I know it's a lot of information, and to me, from the article yesterday, I mean, it was just guilty, guilty, guilty. Mm. Based on the when they had the policeman give the report. But I'm just saying that it could possibly not all be true. Okay, just because we said it or was read, it don't have to be true. The same in the Diddy trial. We read it and all that, and stuff wasn't true. So I'm not going to pass a judgment on these people.
I hear you, Wayne, and don't pass judgment. I love you because they said innocent until proven guilty. But let the diva talk for a minute. With the Diddy trial, I told y'all reading all this stuff, and based upon when they raided his house and arrested him or whatever the case may be, I told you that based upon the evidence that they pulled, what they was charging with him with didn't match, right? I said that early on. And I'm going to say this early on here. Based upon the evidence that was pulled, it don't look good early on. It just don't look good. So, and the reason why I'm saying it don't look good, when they go to your house, when they went to Diddy's house, they got baby oil that people tried to say drugs was in it, and I told you it wasn't, because they would have really slammed them against the wall if it was, right? They got broke down, beat down weapons. And they didn't get the S tapes that they thought they was going to get. When they went to arrest Wendy and Eddie, they found 15 of the alleged stolen items that they reported to the insurance company in their house. They got pictures from her own social media with the wedding band on that she claimed was stolen, and they got a payout check for that stolen wedding band. If it looks like a duck, quack like a duck, then it's a duck. Savannah, your thoughts?
And the ducks are all lining up in a row because this is not looking good for any of those cephals. And I think what well my issue is with Wendy and this story is how her personality or lack thereof is also being used to crucify her in social media and in the blogs, because I have not found a positive story on anyone claiming, that this is fake, or that, wait till she has her day in court. If anything, I do everything is in towards the opposite. They have been raking the Osephos over the coals because of this story. And I think it's because of Wendy's behavior on this show, of looking down her nose at the other cast members and how she treated them. I can remember reality TV when it first started, the first Real World, and how it, became to be. It was made for entertainment and viewers. We watched these shows. I don't tell my age, but I used to watch Lifestyles and the Rich and Famous, and
Me
that's
too.
because we wanted to see behind the gate. You remember that show?
Yes, I
We wanted
do.
to see behind the gate. What was in these
Mhm.
homes, and how do they live, and what did they and when reality TV came about, it was a way of seeing behind the gate. But then I think the audience got smart and started realizing that these storylines were manufactured, and people became caricatures, and it wasn't the real person that will be out there in the street. Instead, these personas, these narratives were created to, entice drama and make. And I think Wendy fell into that,
Mhm.
and she just became someone that not too many viewers connected with. And that's why I don't think she has that much support going for her. It doesn't look good for them at all. My heart breaks for the children, because I can imagine that they're being bullied in some type of way, whether it's school or in their programs, because Wendy let it be known that her kids do a lot of extra curricular activities after school and stuff. Um, I when her teaching this class, yeah, if she really taught them about everything that is what it is, reality TV, and be behind the become this person that you're really not, to hide and safeguard some of their truths. Because I know I've seen a couple of these blogs have even posted her address, which is very dangerous, because it makes
That's
them now open to real. is- They have the indictment paperwork, and so they're reading it, and they have posted her address. And even,
that's
I mean, although the cops said it in the press conference, but it still now leaves them vulnerable to get robbed for real. So, you got to now move out of a neighborhood that you raised your children on. You brought your children there to have certain advantages, and be in a safe community. But you're the boogeyman. You're you, and it's just, I don't understand what was the need for them to do this. What did they gain besides some likes and views in the media for a couple months, when it anytime soon? So I don't see her leaving the show, but I see more problems headed towards the Osefos.
So Lorraine said, let's not be naive. Their claim would have been scrutinized from the jump. A black family calling the cops about a robbery in a white neighborhood. I would hold judgment until we have their side. We never hold judgment, though. We only hold judgment for the people we want. Nobody held judgment for Diddy. In the beginning, nobody held judgment for Diddy. They're still not holding judgment. They're saying the man should spend the rest of life in jail. He didn't get enough time. Nobody holds judgment, but hold judgment for what? And I love you, Lorraine. But let's be clear here. I gave you the examples of my home. But at the end of the day, they said, okay, take your car to the repair place, because after they're going to judge you, right? They got to, right? Because they don't know. So many people do insurance fraud. They don't know who's telling the truth. So you're going to be judged, right? And I told you, yeah, let the guy come. He came, he snapped all the pictures, and the next phone call I got was, take your car to the repair shop and get it fixed. Okay. And they said, do you have the police report? I had the police report for everything. I told y'all with the leak. He came here, snappity, snap, 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 and said, I got to get back to you. And a couple days later, they called me and said, okay, you got a $1,500 deductible. Ouch. So if your claim is assessed at $3,000, they only giving me $1,500 because I got a $1,500 deductible. So yes, they're going to judge you. But if the truth is the truth, then the truth will rise. But if I come and you got a picture online, that's why I told you this social media is taking down. I thought it was taking down the teenagers, but apparently it's taking down the adults too. You got a social media, you on social media with the ring you just claimed was stolen. I'm sorry, Houston, there is a problem. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah. As we know, insurance companies are one of the biggest scams out there. But Wendy, I'm gonna say the famous line from Ghost: "You in trouble, girl." You could at least y'all could have bought some shoes, different size shoes, stepped on the toilet or something, made a footprint or something. The police said they didn't see no footprints, no nothing in there. I mean, if you're gonna be a scammer, do it the right way. You're making us look bad. Y'all had to get. You should have got.
Okay, I lost Katrina. You're on mute.
Okay, I'm sorry, Diva. Did y'all hear me?
You was on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I'm saying is, girl, you could at least bought some shoes, got added some boots or something that's two sizes big, and stepped on the toilet or did something. The folks went in there and said they ain't seen no dirt, they ain't seen no footprints, they didn't see nothing. They had nothing. And I would say, maybe people tried to break in our house to see if they had some Happy Eddie stored up in there somewhere, and they found the other stuff. But then turn around, you showing the stuff on TV. I don't know if you replaced it, with the what did you have. I can't say you didn't, but I darn sure wouldn't been showing it on TV. And I darn sure wouldn't $450,000. You really think these folks ain't finna come look at you? They don't even want to pay out a sum of 10,000. You really think they want to pay out 450,000? So that means they got to go out there and recruit more customers because they got to replace that loss, and they're gonna watch you. So, like I said, when you have these $1 million life insurance, you think they're not gonna send that head man out here to make sure that what happened, and that they don't have to pay out that claim because they're gonna do everything they can to not to pay out that claim. So they're gonna fight you tooth and nail, and they might give you the money, but you better be aware if they give it to you that fast, somebody gonna look into it because they feel like they getting gypped, even though they gyp people out all year long. You paying on car insurance when you never have an accident. Look how much money you ain't got rid of with that. You know what I'm saying? They're your health premiums. Look how much they take from people with that. But girl, if you're gonna be a scammer, be the right kind of scammer and don't show your stuff on TV. Don't do that. And I feel sorry for you when I feel sorry for your children because y'all was wrong. You knew better. I feel sorry for your kids, and I hope your kids is protected. I don't know if you got them homeschool or whatever you're doing, but Wendy, girl, that was the wrong thing to do. Allegedly. That's all I got.
Thank you. I'm coming to you, in my opinion, and that's the problem has too, right, Emmanuel? $60,000 on a birthday party. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Let's be clear. And ain't no alleged. Okay? She was wearing the ring that she got paid for. Okay? They came in from the second store window and they said they wanted no ladder tracks. They didn't set off no motion detectors, nothing. They said they had so many cameras, it wasn't nothing. They raided her house. 15 other items was there. 20 other items she took back for a refund before she even had this burglary. Let me tell you something. First of all, if you're going to be a criminal, be a smart criminal. Know that paper trails is going to come back. They got the emails from her husband to her saying, what else can we add to get this thing up to $450,000? If that ain't a clear sign that you're doing something wrong, I don't know what is. Let me tell you something. I'm one of the ones that say, let's let the evidence speak for itself. But they done showed us all the evidence, and I believe it. Especially when your husband is sending a message saying, what else can we put on here to get it up to $450,000?
I am gold. I am 50 gold. I'm so sorry that happened to your husband, but thank God you had the motion detectors. Praise God. I hope he's fine now. Julius, your thoughts?
I'm gonna be very brief. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
I feel bad for their two children. However, for the two dumbest criminals, starring Jorge and Inspector Crawford, we could thank Queen Latifah for that beauty shop line. Okay. Now, back to the two world's most dumbest criminals. They left a paper trail. When they say when you're trying to do dirt, you don't leave a paper trail. They left a paper trail. And then the scheme was uncovered. I feel bad for their children. However, for the two knuckleheads, I do not. Now I'm back to minding my blessed business.
Yeah, here's the other problem too. Even without the paper trail, there's a digital footprint that we all have. Our cell phones, and you had ring camera and motion. That it just, you got to make it make sense. In the world of insurance, for a claim for their house to $400K is not large based on the value of their home. The house costs at least $1 million. You are being given so much information. You have been given we been given so much information. Why are we being given so much information up front? Well, come on. I know, Lorraine. See, here's the thing. You know what's interesting? And Lorraine, this is to everybody, not just you. When we like somebody, we will give them every excuse under the sun and every break and all of that. Let's be clear. You have $1 million home, but your physical items is $500,000 worth of stuff. That just don't even make sense. And I'm gonna say here, and the reason why I'm saying that too is here in New Jersey, having $1 million home is very easy. I'm not saying easy for people to buy it, but your home to be worth $1 million is very easy. New Jersey is so freaking expensive, and there's other places that are very expensive. But I'm saying New Jersey is definitely one of them, and you can have a little box that will cost you $1 million, and you ain't barely got a backyard. And if you put a pool in your backyard, you ain't gonna have no room for your a grill or nothing else, because that's how tiny your property is, and it's $1 million. And the people with those homes are not sitting with physical items of jewelry, bags, and clothing that someone could get out of your house physical while they're stealing. It just don't even make sense. So these people, they didn't leave a bag behind. They was able to get into your house through a window. Did they have garbage bags? Did they go to the kitchen to get garbage bags? Do you understand why the cops are saying this just don't make sense? Did they take the sheets off the bed, throw the items in there, tie it up? How did they get these things out the window, into what car and what vehicle? And like someone said too, they looked at the neighbors' ring cameras. Did we see a suspicious van come that day or around that time? From the day y'all said y'all went on vacation to the day y'all got back, were there some vans, some suspicious cars? Was a black Jeep? So they just neatly went in your house, stole all of these items. Did they climb up to the window with big garbage bags? How did they do it? Do you understand how the cops, forget about them being a black person in a white neighborhood, how the cop says this is the math ain't mathing? Callie, your thoughts?
Well, I think that people, I think that Wendy thought that people would believe this because she is Wendy from the Real Housewives. She's not just a random person. So I think the story that she's trying to sell is that I'm a celebrity. I posted that I was out of town and some wackadoo came and broke in my house. It wasn't just that somebody was just randomly driving down the street and broke in her house. I don't think that was the story she was trying to sell because she purposely posted that she was out of town. So that was part of what was going on. To be honest, I agree with you, Diva. Everything points to her being guilty. There is nothing that we have seen thus far that points to this being a misunderstanding. As far as the other ladies, I'm not sure about Kyle, but I do know Dorit, there was physically a person who was seen breaking her window and coming in and out of her house with a bag. Now, whether or not if she hired that person, it was her cousin, I don't know. But there was a person that physically robbed the house. That's a little bit different and a little bit harder to prove unless you catch that person and they snitch on her that she wasn't really robbed because she was robbed. The problem with this story with Wendy is that there seems to have not been physically a person that went to this house. It's not even her wearing the ring because, again, that could have been explained the way she could have said, you know, I found the ring and I forgot to report that I found it, or, you know, what have you. But this seems, there's no evidence that there was a person that was in that house when she was gone. It's just not. So, and this is like filing a false police. This is really bad. They're probably going to take their house because it's going to be uninsurable. And if they can't insure that house, they're going to call the loan. If they don't have the money to pay the lender off, they're going to take the house. Like, this is like life destroying bad. This is so bad that she can't just go back to her regular life and get a regular job. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not like,
I do, Callie.
Yeah.
And my heart is breaking for her. Breaking for her.
I don't know how this is going to land for her. I'm not a proponent for people being overpunished, and I definitely don't want her kids to be punished because they didn't do anything. They don't deserve this. But at the same time, it's not looking good because what made Wendy be popular to the people that liked her is that they felt like she was this example of an upstanding, educated person. And this is the total opposite of what they thought they were following. Now, I'm only a year away from being a millennial, so I kind of understand how she ended up here, even though I wouldn't do it. We were told if you just go to college and work hard, everything will be fine. And then we went to college, we got these quote unquote great jobs, and we still could barely afford to buy a house. Like these jobs are not paying for that type of lifestyle. But it was almost like we were led to believe that they would. So it's like when you do get this job, that's this big 6-figure job, and you're still broke, you kind of, I've known other people around me that started doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing because they felt like they hit a wall and they was never going to get to where they wanted to get doing things the right way. And unfortunately, Wendy has gotten caught. And I really don't think that her popularity as a reality star is strong enough that she's going to be able to sustain through this. I really feel like in a couple of years, it's going to be like, whatever happened to that girl?
Good God. Well, let me say this. It's not just your generation or any particular generation. We all were taught you go to school, you're going to make all this money, and you're going to live the American dream, right? We always taught that. But to me, school is not just about the education that you receive when going there. It's about also educating yourself on the side. I told y'all and I promise y'all, I don't know a time where I didn't work 2 jobs. Even when I was in nursing, and people have this, thought in their head that nurses make all of this money, but nurses end up making a lot of money because they're always working more than one job. If you ever heard a nurse, they most of them, not saying all, nothing is ever all. They have their regular full-time job and they're doing what they call per diem somewhere else. You're working like a whole runaway slave. You are working, you're behind all. And because now a lot of nursing, not all, they have 12-hour shifts. And with the 12-hour shifts, working full time is 3 days a week, right? You work in 3 days at 12 hours. You got a whole nother 4 days left. A lot of nurses are doing 2 full-time jobs. So that's 6 days, right? And they're working 12 hours and you combine them salaries and they're raking it in. So, but you're raking it in, but you're working, you're behind off. So all I'm saying is the reality of life is when you see the dream wasn't what you thought it was going to be, then you gotta rewrite your dream. You understand what I'm saying? Or you got to do things to compensate. Okay, they told me this, I'm here, this happened. And there are some people, is that everything is not at all, that they decided to go to school for XYZ. They get out, they get a job, they're doing their best, and they got this, or whatever the case may be. I also don't want to get off the grid here and talk too much about other things. And maybe one day we can have a live that is just about a life conversation. But also, over here, I can only speak for myself and I'm not trying to push anybody in anything. But that's why the Bible says when a man finds himself a wife, he finds himself a good thing, because life is meant to be together with somebody else too. So at least the two of you can balance it off each other. And maybe the two of you coming together with both those salaries, maybe you have one up above, right? So forth and so on. But we have a lot of single family broken homes, because we have some of these men out here and dropping their seed everywhere, and they're not in any of those homes. And now you're lowering the standard of living for each one of those homes because it's a single parent home with a bunch of kids in it, right? Or some kids there, whatever the case may be. So, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But yes, I think we were all sold this dream. And now the dream has gotten very astronomical, right? Because these colleges, the amount that they charge for you to go to school is highway robbery and insane. It's insane. But they're raising the prices of those schools too, right? Because the whole higher education, initially it was to block some people out because they just couldn't simply afford it, right? Then they got the student loans, and those people they was blocking out, they was able to get in. So they got in, and then they raised the price of the school. Now the student loans are astronomical. So now when you come out, the American dream is not so much of a dream, because even if you was making a little bit of money, but you didn't have those student loans, you probably could still have a decent life, right? But no, you making this little bit of money, you got student loans, and the rent is $3,000 a month. Like but I don't want to get off the beaten path. But my thing is, you gotta use your brain, no matter who you are, and you gotta say to yourself, yeah, I went to school, I did this, but what I'm never going to do is I'm never going to cheat the system and try to justify it. Amy J, your thoughts?
Yeah, I wanted to I had a whole lot of thoughts, but with this particular situation, I also wanted to add with the REIT situation that was much more believable was there were a string of robberies in that community at the time. So hers, I don't know if this was a fake.
Hold on, Amy J. Hold on one second. I'm gonna let you continue talking. But they did a whole 22-minute press conference. They talked about no strain of
That's what I'm saying. Like, and this is for Dorit.
Oh, for Dorit. Okay, I thought.
No, I'm saying like that's what made the difference. And
okay,
like,
yes,
I feel like Wendy and them heard the tall tale of the robberies and said to themselves, this could be a good swing. But even here's the thing, I'm still holding out hope that this is a misunderstanding. It's like some folks. But at the end of the day, when we're looking at some of the stuff, I have to look at the Reetnam situation. There was a string of robberies going on during that time. So when she said she got robbed and she was held gun, like a strong arm robbery. They had guns and everything else like that, and she was put on the floor. Yes, it sounds crazy, and
Top house.
yeah, like I'm sorry, it sounded crazy and it seemed unbelievable, but there still was the story at that time. It was a lot of robberies in that community. Wendy's story herself, she said there has never been a robbery, which means that community either are on high alert or it just doesn't happen. And that made it even more of a reason for these people wanting to find out what happened. Because if it's never happened to them before, it's almost like you're putting them on a job where they're trying to just figure it out just to solve it. And I think that's where we came to this conclusion where they were like, some of the stuff is just not making any sense. This we've never had a robbery like that, and then it's just not like the dots are not connecting. She says she jumped out a window. This window's small. The toilet, there's no debris, and then we come back, and this is why I feel like to a certain extent there is some ways to explain away some of this stuff. Like I remember Portia gave her tossed a little bone over and said people wear fake replicas all the time. And I'm thinking maybe even with her claiming things, maybe you came home and didn't realize you pulled your place in disarray when you were packing. There are so many ways that you could say, oh, it was a misunderstanding. But the thing is, once the cash came in for the ring and the band, there was always, I'm hoping there was always communication between the police and them saying that, you know what, we found some of this stuff and we don't know. I'm hoping that happened, but something's telling me that may have not happened because they are where we're at now. So for me, it's not that I mean, I'm upset and I'm disappointed in Wendy because of what she try to represent on these programs. And I want to kind of question what was her motivation, seeing as though that she was doing some of this stuff that just seems like criminal. Well, it is criminal. And it's kind of sneaky and backhanded because a lot of people saw themselves or they wanted representation, especially for a lot of West Africans. They were excited to see a West African they thought that they could relate to and see themselves in. And however nasty and rude she was to some people, she was representation. And to see that this person, I kind of question her motives at this point. Even with the class that she created, it seems kind of self-serving because she was talking about black women in media. And I always wondered, because there was always like, thoughts online about some of this stuff being created to have a storyline saying people were being colorist and all the rest of the stuff. And maybe we were like, just like, filling ourselves out through the television screen. But I always wondered how much of this is reality and some of this stuff is just not real. And to see that she wrote a whole course on it makes me question her motivations now because we're seeing like this other side of Wendy that we had no idea what she was capable of or possibly capable of, and we see this really like dark side. So I'm kind of like in a situation where I'm like, I don't want to believe this person's capable of something that sinister in regards to how she even portrayed herself on television and how she even created this discussion of colorism and making it where women were like literally saying they hated a woman because of her complexion and believing that she was against them and all the rest of the stuff. When we know reality TV is like it's bad, but it's not like to that point. It was a point that I didn't even want to watch it because it got so like grotesque. So those are the things I think about when I look at Wendy's situation and how sinister some of this stuff is kind of showing and how they reported their robbery and even her getting online, not a blink of an eye, talking to an interviewer and acting as if it was nothing. This is what makes me hope that there is an explanation because I just don't want to believe somebody has like that level of sinister in them. You know what I'm saying? I
do.
know I mean, even though we talk about like the poverty levels and how we struggle financially, but it's two people in that household.
Mhm.
Two well-educated people in that household. They are better off than a lot of folks. And I just can't understand why you would put yourself and your children in a situation for just to be seen as like the baddie on television. I never understood why she agreed to do the show because most people at her educational levels are doing things to like motivate policy or change policy and the rest of that stuff. And when she came back the seventh season with the boobs and all the rest of that stuff, I was just like, what's going on with this girl? So there is so many questions I have, but I'm still in this space of hoping there's an explanation. Because I don't want to think what I'm thinking right now.
Well, I think we all are. And it goes back to, and I just shout out, I don't remember what subscribers said this to me, but I'm going to say shout out to the person who reminded me. They said that Malcolm X said, who taught you to hate yourself? And I'm not just talking about for Wendy, just in general. Who taught you to hate yourself, that you feel that you are not worthy enough, that you can't simply tell the people the truth? Listen, I tell y'all my truth a lot, but I tell y'all it more so everybody can feel comfortable. It ain't no need to be fronting. You know, sometimes when people see people, they just imagine all this stuff in their head about what the people have, they don't have, whatever the case may be. Everything I have, I worked for. And I take it back a little bit. My dad gave me a lot, but that's a whole nother story, right? But you understand what I'm saying, right? And so they get on these shows, and that's why I'm going to, you know, we don't have to like a person it just to just agree with some of the things they do was okay and legit. Let me tell you the part I do like about Giselle. When Giselle first came on the show, and go back to whatever season, I think she was from season 1. Go back to season 1, and they all lie, so I'm not talking about that. But what I will give to Giselle is when she first got on this, when she first came on the Real Housewives of Potomac, they showed her, I think she was in an apartment, if I'm not mistaken.
She didn't have a lot.
She didn't have a lot. And she was in that kitchen making something with her daughters or whatever the case may be. So she didn't even try off the bat to try to go get someplace or rent out someplace that looked so high level. And we saw over time the growth and the evolution of Giselle and her moving up, you know, and she did it slowly. And even when she purchased her house, they talked about it. See, that's the other problem too.
The tear down.
They love to tear you down, right, and talk about you. But in the meantime, you over there doing some fraudulent stuff. So when she bought her house, she had to renovate it, all of that. And she even allowed the cameras to come and film stuff there when her house wasn't 100% done. So same thing with Candy from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She had her house, she filmed in her regular house that she had. And as time went on, she bought another house. But even when she bought another house, she bought a foreclosure too. And remember, Kim Zolciak wanted to joke around, talk about she in the hood or whatever the case may be. But my thing is that when you want to start showing up for the people, just like I'll go to Marry the Medicine. I think, what is her darn name? Because she was married to Greg. Why is her name slipping my mind right now? She was married to Greg, and then they got divorced, and now he's married to Sweet Tea.
Oh, you talking about
Quad.
So Quad was in a nice townhouse. She let Toya punk her. Then she went and bought this big house that, the truth be told, she can't afford it. She can't afford it. She bought that huge house because she allowed Toya to punk her about her townhouse. Nothing was wrong with that townhouse. But they get on these shows, like I said, they fronting and stunting, and then you end up in these particular situations. It is very sad. So overall, wholeheartedly, do I feel for Wendy and Eddie? I 100% do. But do I think that this case looks like they're going to this going to be a clean sweep for them? I don't, because in general, in the courts, they slam people that look like me. And you gave them something to slam yourself with. So we'll see. I'm praying for her, because one thing I will say I really feel bad for, I feel bad for the children. I feel bad for the children. Yeah, Lorraine, it doesn't matter that they've been in the same house since they started the show. They have, but she's been spending money hand over fist. And obviously, they also said in the report that they was in significant debt. Significant debt. So that means it's nasty. Anyway, guys, I'm going to roll into this last story because y'all got me rolling over into the overtime a little bit. But I'm going to roll into the last story. And this last story is very sad. How can a mother take the life of their own child and still just live life as nothing happened? I will never understand it. Many people here will understand, whether you're the mother, the father, whatever. When you first have your baby, you do be waking up and just looking to see, like, okay, when they in their room sleep or whatever, you like, are they breathing? And then when you see the baby move or whatever, you go lay back down and you go back to sleep, But every now and then you do these checks. It's just looking to see, are they breathing? Are they okay? And so when you have a mother that actually killed their own child, you're just like, what the heck is this? Is crazy. So the backstory on this is that there's a 12-year-old girl who the mother, or so between the mother, the boyfriend, and the auntie, someone took her life, but they say that she was being starved and abused before she lost her life. They had her in the basement somehow, and then when they was moving from one home to another, they decided at this abandoned building, that they was going to take her remains and put it back there. But someone saw them doing it, called the cops, and the cops got there, found the body, and they started the investigation. Lorraine said, we don't know that, Diva. Wait for the evidence. A press conference on their arrest is a bit much. We'll see what happens. Lorraine, I know you love Wendy, and I hear you. But you know, over here, the Diva got to give her opinion. And then when it all goes down, then I love to come back and tell y'all, I told you so. But anywho, let's move on to this story here. Let me go in. So I'm going to show you one. There's so many conferences with this particular one. Oh, let me show this one.
Really shocking the state. Thanks for joining us here at 6. I'm Stephanie Simone.
And I'm Erin Connolly. Good evening. Carla Garcia is accused of killing her young daughter, Jacqueline Torres. Garcia's boyfriend and sister are also charged.
Tonight, we have team coverage on that case. Your chief investigative reporter, Sam Spank, is looking into the suspect's criminal history. More on that in just a moment.
But we do want to start with Dylan Fearon, who was in the courtroom today. He is joining us live in New Britain with all the details. Dylan.
Well, Erin, Stephanie, it was as intense as it could possibly get today in court over in Torrington. A packed courtroom, at least 25 members of Jacqueline's family inside the courtroom. Of course, they're angry, stunned, heartbroken. And you also had 13 court marshals inside as well, trying to keep things controlled and calm. But it was tough. Get out of here. Get out of the courtroom. This is the beginning of a long journey to get justice for Jacqueline, her own mother, Carla Garcia, charged with murder. She realizes the camera's on her today, turning her head to hide, then starts crying when it hits her. There's nowhere to go. A heart tattoo on her neck. Now she's being called heartless by folks in her New Britain neighborhood.
I'm just glad that God, was able to get them caught and deserve what they get.
Garcia's boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, is also charged with murder. He was arrested last night, now facing a judge with a fresh black eye and cuts on his face and forehead. Bond set for the couple at $5 million each. Public defenders made it clear they can't pay it.
To see the guy's face and is already messed up, I'm sure where he's going, it's going to be justice before the courts happen to deal with justice, and they deserve it.
Jacqueline Garcia is Carla's sister, young Jacqueline's aunt. She's charged with intentional cruelty and hit with $1 million bond. Angelina Torres lit a candle at Jacqueline's memorial today.
There's no words for this.
Every bit of it.
Yeah, she deserves this and more. She deserves true justice. I just pray that she's in heaven and she's safe and sound.
The specifics on how 12-year-old Jacqueline died and why still haven't been made public, but police believe Jacqueline died a year ago in Farmington, that she was a victim of abuse, malnourishment, and neglect, that her body was secretly kept in the family basement and moved when her family relocated to New Britain, eventually put in a container and left behind this abandoned home. Jacqueline's remains were found here Wednesday. Her father, Victor Torres, too stunned to speak today, but told us last week he didn't have custody of Jacqueline and has been living out of state.
If the story is true, it's a really sad situation. I don't wish this on anyone. May she rest in peace.
And family continues to mourn at Jacqueline's memorial right now. Erin and Stephanie keeping it clean, keeping it looking nice. We've also received many questions about Jacqueline's schooling over the past year or two. We did find out tonight that Jacqueline was enrolled in the New Britain school system from kindergarten through 5th grade, but that on what would have been her first day of 6th grade back in August of 2024, her mother, Carla Garcia, pulled her from the New Britain school system, told people that they were moving to Farmington, which they did, and that Jacqueline would be homeschooled, but basically based on the police department's timeline, Aaron and Stephanie, it seems that Jacqueline may have died just 2 months after she was pulled out of the school system here. I'm a reporter live in New Britain tonight, Dylan Fear.
Super sad. Let me just give a little bit more info here. So girl 12 was allegedly abused and malnourished before being found dead in a plastic container, and the mom is charged. So police allege that the family of Jacqueline Mimi Torres Garcia, 12, kept her remains in a basement in 2024 and moved them when they relocated to another town in 2025. The remains of a 12-year-old girl who had been missing for a year were found inside a container near a Connecticut home. And now that child's mother and 2 others are charged in connection with her death. On Wednesday, October 8th, officers with the New Britain Police Department were called to an abandoned building at 80 Clark Street in response to a report of suspicious behavior. New Britain Mayor Aaron Stewart said at the press conference on Monday, October 13th, posted on the WTNH.com and revealed by People. As a mother, this makes me sick to my stomach to be standing here today, Stewart said. In the backyard, officers discovered a large container with what was believed to be human remains. New Britain Police Chief Matthew Marino said at the press conference, the remains were identified as those of Jacqueline Mimi Torres Garcia. Investigators determined that Jacqueline likely died in the fall of 2024 when her family lived in Farmington. Farmington Public Safety Director Paul Melanson said at the press conference, evidence indicates that Jacqueline was the victim of prolonged physical abuse and malnourishment prior to her death. Melanson said the child's body was kept in a basement and moved when her family relocated from Farmington in March 2025, he said. On Sunday, October 12th, Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia, 29, was arrested and charged with a slew of counts, including murder with special circumstances, conspiracy to commit murder with special circumstances, improper disposal of a dead body, and intentional cruelty to a child under the age of 19, he said. Garcia is being held on a $5 million bond. That is her. Also on Sunday, Jacqueline's aunt, Jacqueline Garcia, 28, was arrested and charged with intentional cruelty to a child under the age of 19, risk of injury to a child, and first-degree unlawful restraint. She is being held on a $1 million bond. Garcia's boyfriend, Jonathan Nathia, 30, was taken into custody on Monday, October the 13th, on a felony arrest warrant, the New Britain Police Department said in a statement on Facebook. He is accused of killing Jacqueline along with Garcia, police said during the press conference. Authorities allege that Nathia brought the container holding the girl's remains to the property on Clark Street. On Wednesday, October the 8th, police said at the press conference, police are continuing to investigate. Jacqueline was homeschooled, police said. The Department of Children and Families, DCF, was involved, Stewart said. On Monday, Susan Hamilton, intern for DCF commissioner, released an updated statement saying, we can confirm Jacqueline's siblings are safe and have been placed together in state custody. We have already begun a thorough review of our history with the family. In a GoFundMe set up to help defray funeral costs, the organizer wrote that Jacqueline was a bright, joyful 12-year-old who brought laughter and warmth to everyone around her. She was always smiling, loved to dance, and had a wonderful sense of humor. Jacqueline cared deeply for her siblings and was a natural caregiver, always looking out for those she loved. This is super sad, unbelievable. It's just sad. Wayne, your thoughts?
A little passing on this one, Diva.
Yeah, no problem. Savannah?
I'm just trying to fathom what level of evil had to exist around this child where she had no one to protect her, not her mother, not her auntie. And good Jesus, this is horrific. Horrific. And we countless stories we've done over the past few months of failures from the system, whether it's DIFUS, Department of Children, but the schools also have to do better. I'm one that I don't think that homeschooling is regulated correctly, because I don't see where state officials come in and check, are the parents or administrators that are facilitating the homeschooling, are they following the state guidelines or the programs and projects that they're supposed to be doing. So no one really checked on this child for over a year. And if it wasn't because the boyfriend finally decided to dispose of her remains that were in a container for quite some time, we would have never got this story. And they put it in an abandoned house, like there was no connection to a child that came out of you, that infant that turned into a child, that turned into a, oh sweet girl. That this is just horrific, Diva. These are more than demons. I don't know what's going on in this world where we have no sense of care of or for humanity. I mean, it doesn't matter even if it comes from our own being, our own womb as women. These two women's, because I'm counting the auntie as well. I have five sisters, and they protect mine just as I protect theirs, and I can't imagine what this baby girl went through, and she had no one that could protect her. This is horrific, horrific.
Yeah. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah, Diva, it is bad. I feel you on that one, Wayne. Um, my thing is, okay, the father coming up saying he want to rest in peace. First of all, you didn't talk to your child for over a year. You had no contact with your child. Now you up here crying.
Mm,
Maybe if you had contact with her, she would have let you know what was going on, and you could have got her. But
mm,
here it is, her body is found out, but you up here crying. But you never talked to your child for a whole full year. And another thing, when they do homeschooling, there's no curriculum to go by. They just go, they give them like the lesson plans whatsoever. But they also get up to, I don't know about every state, but I know some of them get 2,000 per child to be homeschooled. They
mm,
get the system give them money. They get 2,000 per child. So they get money for it. And they say they give them money for this so they can do their activities like field trips and stuff like that. But they actually get money for being homeschooled. Um, this is sad on all levels. I don't think they should be in no jail. I think somebody should put them in a container and seal it up and let them see how that baby felt, because you wasn't feeding her. You wasn't even treating her like a person. More like a dog get treated better than that. I mean, I see a person, they be home, they gonna feed that dog, but you're not feeding your child. And then he in court with a black eye and some scratches. But that ain't all you gonna get. Wait till you get in that population. You gonna wish that never happened. And that mom, I don't understand what type of mom these people are. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. How can you birth somebody when you having birth, your body dies and come back alive again. And through all that pain and through all that suffering, and if you didn't want her, why didn't you just send her to her dad or give her to somebody that could afford her or did anything like that? I know she don't want to be put in the system, but I feel better if that child was in the system. Maybe she would still be alive today. And like I said, go back to the dad. Where were you a whole year ago? I don't know what went on with their relationship or anything like that, but where were you a year ago? Because you didn't talk to your child for over a year, you would have knew something was up. But they don't need to be in no jail cell. They need to be in a container sealed up like they got that baby doing. That's all I got.
In my opinion,
Oh God, I am so tired seeing these stories where kids are being taken out before they even have a chance to live.
mm,
I really am. It hurts your heart because I can't imagine. I just can't imagine that it's this many evil, demonic people in this world that will harm a child. It don't make sense. What I will say is, and I know every city, county, and everything how they run Homeschooling is different. I'm glad the area I stay in, if you homeschool your kids, they got to sit in front of a computer and look at their teacher. So that's the one good thing I have going for my system.
Yeah.
Don't understand how nobody saw this kid for a whole year. It didn't raise no alarm bells, nothing. Like, this should not be the case. I don't understand how these parents were able to move to a whole nother county and nobody saw this kid, but everybody knew she had a kid and it didn't raise no alarm bells nowhere. And for her sisters to join in tells me that they both not sane. Neither one of them. And as far as this daddy, I would have more affection for him if he told me I tried to get in touch with her and couldn't.
No, he did. He did say that after a while. He talked about the last time he spoke to her.
Yeah, and if you haven't talked to him, this is my experience, okay? If I don't talk to him, okay, I'm looking for him. Period, point blank. Okay, you're not gonna go to it. And mine in college, they grown diva. Okay, if I don't mine, I'm looking for them. You hear me? Don't have me worried in these streets. I'm looking for you. I just don't understand. You are an adult. It shouldn't be nothing that stops you from going the extra mile to sure your kid is safe.
I appreciate you, Julius.
So this happened close to my neck of the woods. Because Springfield ain't too far from New Britain. And I can tell you, the social media streets in my local city have been off the hook waiting to see if this fool touched base here. But luckily, that wasn't the case. My heart is broken for this little girl. I'm going to sound like Miss Felicia tonight. She should be loved, valued, and protected. She wasn't. Every immediate adult failed her. Her bio father, the mother's boyfriend, her mother, her aunt, failed her. And you know, scripture talks about how the Lord says, "You harm my children beneath my wrath." I don't know what exact book it comes out of, but I know it talks about it. Oh, they about to receive his wrath, and they're gonna be at his mercy if Mimi forgives them. But I could see she is safe. That commenter who said, "I hope she's safe," that baby girl is safe. She is wrapped in the bosom of God, safe and sound. Her tears are being dried as this happened. This happened a whole year ago. How did they keep her, the stench, everything for a whole year? That's utterly megally demonic. They don't need to be walking. They need to be under the jail.
Callie, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, nothing is going to bring her back. But one thing I would like to say is that you should always know where your kids are.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going. I never could understand these dads that don't know what's going on with their kid and just leave the kid with the mom. Anything could happen to this kid. So, and unfortunately, in this case, it did. These people were sick. And this was beyond not wanting the responsibility of the child. This was some type of sadistic, I don't know, demonic stuff going on here. Yeah, and all we can do is put them in jail. You know what I mean? Like, that's the worst we could do to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, it's very sad. I appreciate y'all. Let me just say, there's a whole press conference on this too. The press conference, I wasn't going to subject y'all to it because it's like 20 something minutes also. I'm sorry, guys. It's like 20 something minutes also. But let me just play one more thing and then we'll close out. Hold on one second. So I will stay connected to this case, but I think in this case, they're all getting life in prison and they deserve it. And thank God the other kids were rescued.
Surrounding the discovery of a 12-year-old girl's remains in New Britain last week, her mother, her boyfriend, and her aunt, all under arrest and in court. The U.S. Supreme Court. Let's go to Brittany Taylor for our top story. Brittany.
Hi, Ann. Good afternoon. It was quite an emotional day here in the courtroom for the arraignment of the mother, the aunt, and a third person that was arrested in connection to this little girl's death. Supporters wearing these white sweatshirts appearing to have the image of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. They packed the gallery. Many of them towards the end of the arraignment were yelling profanities, disrupting the proceedings, and had to be thrown out. Let's recap what happened for you. So let's start with the first suspect, which is the victim's mother. Her name is Carla Garcia. She is 28 years old. She is facing murder charges, and we heard that she does have prior convictions, including assault. She also deals with mental health issues. The judge setting her bond at $5 million. Next is the aunt of this little girl. Her name is Jacqueline Garcia. She's 29 years old. She is facing charges related to cruelty. She does have a prior conviction as well, from what we heard in court. Her bond has been set at $1 million. Now let's go to Jonathan Nanita, who is 30 years old. We heard in court that he is dealing with homelessness. He is also facing a number of charges, including murder and tampering with evidence. We heard that there was an outstanding warrant for his arrest. He also missed court dates. He has some prior convictions as well. His bond was set at $5 million. To recap this case for you, let's go to Farmington. We have some scene video for you. This is where this little girl, 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres, died, according to police. We're actually filming the home in New Britain where police found the remains of Jacqueline Torres, but we did learn from investigators that she died in Farmington after malnourishment and signs of cruelty, physical abuse. And we learned from investigators that her body was stored in the basement, and then the family moved to New Britain. Now, how police came across her remains? Her remains were in a storage container outside of an abandoned building on Clark Street, and police were in the area for responding to suspicious activity. That's when they searched that storage container and found her remains. Let's take you to some more video here at the Litchfield Superior Courthouse today. Again, you can see those supporters dressed in these white sweatshirts standing outside, a number of them packing the courtroom gallery today. Again, they appeared to have the image of this little girl on their sweatshirts. Our reporter, Jeff Derderian, and myself, as well as the other members of the media, we tried to get a comment from these supporters. However, they declined to comment at this time. Again, they were very emotional, very angry, it appeared to be, in the courtroom today. Now, the judge has ordered a no contact order for 4 children related to this family who, according to the law, cannot be identified, but based on their birth dates, one of them is less than a year old. One of them is 14 years old. But again, no contact orders for all 3 of the suspects related to 4 children tied to this family. All 3 of these suspects, the man, the aunt, and the mother, they are set to appear in court next on November 14th. Live in Torrington at the Litchfield Courthouse this afternoon, Brittany Taylor, News 8.
Just a horrific story.
So I just wanted to kind of give that update because we will, get that more additional information because we will stay connected to this story. It's horrific. It is sad. My heart breaks for her. And I'm wondering, who did the 1-year-old belong to? This story is insane. But listen, guys, I appreciate y'all. Y'all spent 2 hours with me. God help us like that, But anyway, guys, y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, do the diva a favor, hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.
Choo choo.
Choo choo choo.